I am 50. We have officially crossed over. We're past midnight. It's my birthday. Happy birthday to me. Thanks so much for coming to my birthday party and for putting up with me for 50 years because I'm not easy to put up with. I'm picky and I have a bad temper, although I'm working on my bad temper. And so one of the stories that I'm going to tell today is about my bad temper and how I learned that when I got angry I could put dents in cars using my butt. So you get to hear about that because you know it's been 50 years of having my butt, so we're going to celebrate that today. Anyway, also I want to tell you all how much I appreciate you being around and say how much I especially miss my family overseas and the folks that I don't see here in Ullapool, and especially the folks I don't see in Burkhead, and I miss the women in my dance troupe, and when we're done being locked down, I would love to start a dance troupe here again. But in honor of our oldest member of our troupe who passed away a couple years ago, I'm wearing this, what she would have called a jaunty flower. So here's Rebecca, and she was amazing. So in our dance troupe, we had Rebecca, and then we were all separated by 4 years. So it was Rebecca, and then I'm 4 years younger than Rebecca, and then the other two 4 years younger, and then 4 years younger. And sometimes we had some different people. We had Sarah or Paige, and we had Jessica and me and Rebecca. So there were always four of us, but it was sometimes different combination of four. And then we had these lovely guys who drummed for us. So just telling you guys that I love you and I love all of that community. And so this is me at the end of my whole cooking day, and then I'll show you what I've done. Thanks for being there. Welcome to my accordion cooking show, which is what I wanted to do for turning 50. So I actually turn 50 tomorrow on the 8th of March, but I'm recording it early. So we are going to cook some amazing things today. And after a little while, my kids will be here and then we'll cook with them. So I had promised everybody a theme song, and I always love songs that have little bits of la 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 in the middle of them. Just like, especially fa la la. So I think maybe because a lot of Christmas songs have fa la la in them. So I've made a theme song, and it's just really easy. It's Christy's Accordion Cooking Show, la 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 la. Christy's Accordion Cooking Show, la 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 la. So here we go. Christy's Accordion Cooking Show, la 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 la. Christy's Accordion Cooking Show, la 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 la. Christy's Accordion Cooking Show, la 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 la. Christy's Accordion Cooking Show, la 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 la. And before we do anything else, I'm going to move the accordion out of the way of the cooking. And some people were asking me, am I going to actually cook my accordion, which of course I'm not going to. And I have to move my bench. This is a short person bench. If you're a very small person or not very tall anyway, you could use a bench like this. Because then you can get things off of high shelves and stuff. So a short story that I wrote about my butt. So here we go. All right, it is called Butt Shaped Dent. All right, and I have permission from my sister Janet, the planet, to read it. Okay. So, butt shaped dent. I have the best butt in our family. Not the most lovely or even the prettiest, Mine is the most useful. Janet came into the kitchen that morning wringing her hands. Help, she whispered. Come outside. Look. With a sigh, I shut off the eggs, wiped my hands on my apron, and came out. When little sisters are in trouble, you don't ask. And there, sitting at the top of our hill for all the neighbors to see, was Janet's car, an electric blue Toyota Tercel with its hood now arching toward the sky. Your butt can get dents out of cars, right? She asked, shifting from one foot to the other, still in her party clothes, looking tired. Well, it can put dents into cars, but I don't know if it can get them out, I mused, remembering the day I dented my father's van in a fit of teenage pique. I just need my hood to be back to normal before Dad wakes up, Janet said. Maybe could you sit on it and bounce a little? My butt isn't big enough. I rolled my eyes. I don't know. The dent is right on top. I'd have to be dropped from overhead. No, you could just run and jump on it. But first, I asked. You'd have to, she said. If anyone can do this, you can. Thanks, I said, grimacing, resigned. The neighbors would be out soon. The way the front of the hood now licked the grill made the car look like it was preparing to eat something delicious, probably my pride. First, we checked the emergency brake. Then I sat on the hood and bounced a bit with no success. I made a few trial runs. Nothing. Finally, we decided that I would run in reverse, would leap backward over the front of the car, would land directly on the unsightly dent with the fattest part of my butt. I have faith in you, Janet said, so I tried, several times. Okay, run faster, she coached. Use 3 steps instead of 4, so you're taking off on your strongest foot. Now this time, land in the middle with all your weight. Now I should just tell you that some of the women in my family who have my butt, some of the women in my dad's side of the family have actually been named after their butts. So this is a butt that when we were Mennonites in Russia, this butt kept people from freezing. Like if you had a woman in the family with a butt like mine, nobody was starving and nobody was freezing in bed. There you go. Okay, so here we go. Now we're talking about the usefulness, other kinds of usefulness for having a nice sized butt. So here we go. I'm running backwards toward the car. I found that I no longer cared about the neighbors. Apron flying, I tried. Soon I was sitting on a hood that seemed to have no dent at all. I grinned at Janet. Woohoo! I yelled, and I remember actually sitting down and the whole car went funk, and I thought, oh, I've done it. You did it, she laughed, jumping up and down. Now, get up and let's take a look. That was when we saw the heart-shaped impression I'd put into the hood of my sister's Tercel. Its 2 generous halves, exactly the shape of my butt. So, I don't think I'm going to be working for an auto body place anytime soon, taking dents out of cars, but it's always good to know that you have a butt that's capable of both denting and undenting a car. So, here's to 50 years more of my butt. For being almost 50, I'm just doing what I like now. I get to be the queen. And one of the things that I've started doing is I've started having a meal that I made up from Hobbit, except for they have 11sies, so mine is 3sies. So at 3 o'clock, I have some dark chocolate. This is my coffee. It's decaf because being a somewhat nervous person, if I have caffeine, I go kind of nuts. But then I have this is my stash of chocolate. I'll even show you where I keep my stash. So I keep my stash up here. If you ever come to my house, you can take chocolate out of my stash, but you can never take the last piece. And if there's one piece left, then you have to break it in half and make sure that there's always some left. This has actually got some of Mayna's birthday chocolate in it. Mayna wanted some vanilla chocolate. This is called white chocolate. But I usually use dark chocolate, and I have a couple kinds of dark chocolate in here. I have an 85 Lindt bar, and I have like an 85 green and black. So I will And so the trick for threesies is that you have to dunk your dark chocolate in your coffee, and you can feel quite pleased with yourself. You can feel like you're getting away with something, which always feels really good. So I'm taking my dark chocolate and I'm dipping it in. It can get a little bit messy. It's so good. And I'm doing this even though what I'm supposed to be doing, I'm supposed to be sauteing my ouch. Don't burn your hands. I'm supposed to be sauteing these things. What are these things? My word recall is really bad here. My onions. So I'm sauteing my onions. I'm using, I decided that because I didn't want to just use stuff with coatings on it unless I knew that they weren't going to hurt my kids. So a lot of my coatings on my pans are actually glass. So they're enamel. They're like enameled cast iron, which is great. So the problem though is that because cast iron enamel pans are so expensive, like Le Creuset pans, Le Creuset. So I had to get them all used. So what that means is that I got pans that might not have been the best pans ever. So, okay, I don't know if they bleached them out when I got them or what, but when I got these pans, they were beautiful and white on the bottom, and it looked like they looked pristine, but they were also old. So I was pleased with that because I thought some other cook that's been using these, they put all their good energy, and maybe it's just some old person who can't handle like the heaviness of a cast iron pan, because a cast iron pan is so heavy. This one here, this is not enamels. So you have to also make sure that you season it and stuff. We have to not ever use soap, and you want to put some olive oil and after every use. So, but the problem is if you try to pick this up with one hand, I mean, unless you're part troll, like I am, like my dad said that we are, you're not going to be able to manage that pan. And they've helped it a little because they've put a handle on the end of it, but really, you want to just be careful of that. But anyway, I thought, well, I'll get a pan that some old person can't handle anymore, and then I'll get to have all that great grandma energy on my pans. So I got these used pans, and then as I used them, they sort of got darker and darker, and I wasn't scraping any of the coating off. But this is probably my oldest, no, probably this. Okay, so it's good, and it should look white inside, but look at what it looks like. Okay, so it's fine, and I love it, and I wish that I could just get it recoated, but actually, I probably can't. And the reason you need them coated is because if you use something with acid, like lemons or tomatoes or something, then that doesn't do so well with a regular cast iron pan. It does something, I can't remember what it does, but it does something that's not good for your health. So you don't want to do that. So if you have enamel, then you can cook stuff like tomatoes, and you can cook, you can make chicken cacciatore, you can make any of these kinds of things where you want to bake them with a good tomato sauce. So anyway, what we're making now, and I had kind of thought that I would have this finished before I saw you guys, because I don't want to offend any vegetarians. So if you're a vegetarian, don't look at the rest of this. So what we have is I'm making some Moroccan chicken. And so I've been marinating the chicken. And in this country, in Scotland, when you get legs of chicken, they leave sometimes they leave even more than we would ever leave attached onto the bone. But they also give you a chunk of like a leg and a thigh together, which is kind of cool, because then if you have kids that one of them always wants the leg or one of them wants the thigh or whatever, you don't have to go and get separate legs and thighs. You can actually just get one thing and then you're done. So anyway, I've been marinating them in smoked paprika and basil. No, sorry, wrong cuisine. Smoked paprika and ground up cumin and coriander and chopped up ginger, some red pepper. I think I have to add some red pepper, and I'm going to use this stuff here. I'll show it to you. I'm going to use this stuff because Not that anyone in our family's ever lazy. Not coming out of my grandmother anyway. Very lazy, it says, chop red chilies. So what's great about that is you can just stick them right in. I should have added them earlier, but that's okay. So I'm going to stick them right in with everything else, and then I have to mix them up. But they're all going to get slow cooked anyway, so it should be fine. Okay, so they've been marinating in there with all that, with the garlic, with the salt. There's a couple of bay leaves in there. The issue with bay leaves, though, is that if you put bay leaves into a rub or something, you really have to grind them up, because otherwise when you're trying to mix them around with the chicken, then your bay leaves will come apart. And then you'll end up with pieces of bay leaves, and some poor person's going to get your bay leaves. So right now, what I have in my slow cooker, which I've already heated up, and we would call this crock pot in the U.S., but I'm trying to use terms that everybody can use. And it's been really strange because in this country, they weigh everything. So it always seemed really crazy to me, like, how can they weigh everything? Not only are the degrees strange, like some of them are like a split half. Like if it says 400 for an American recipe, then you're going to put it on 200 for centigrade, right? But not only is that weird, but then they're not using cups here, and they're not using ounces, and they're not using any of those. They're using grams. So you have to have this actual kitchen scale. And then you think, oh, that's so hard, I'll have to measure each ingredient. But actually, what happens is that you put your scale there, and then you stick your bowl and you like tear the weight of the bowl so you're onto nothing. And then you start adding it in, and let's say it says like that you want 500 of something, and then you want, I don't know, 200 or something else. Well, all of a sudden you think, oh gosh, I can just put the 500, and then I'll just keep adding in until I get to 700 or whatever. So as long as you can do simple math, some of us not as well as others on simple math, then you actually don't have to measure each ingredient like you do with, like you just start with your bowl and you start adding stuff in, which is pretty cool. So anyway, so right now in there, I have what would have been 2 cans of tomatoes, but these are tomatoes with a little bit of a kick. They've got a little bit of chili because they were on sale, so that's what I got. And then I've got 2 onions sliced up, and I'm going to put that in here too. And one of the things you can do to sort of help yourself along with your with the amount of time that you have to spend with your slow cooker is you can heat your stuff up ahead of time. You can heat because a lot of the time of your cooker is about the cooker itself getting hot. So if you start that thing and you let it get up to a certain temperature, as long as you don't put something freezing in a really hot cooker or something hot in a freezing cooker, and you try to keep everything the same temperature, then you're not going to ever crack this part of it, the ceramic part, as long as you do that. And also remember that for washing, you want to try to keep your temperature for washing about the same temperature as the slow cooker, just because the first time that you actually break the inside liner of your slow cooker, you're just going to feel sick. You know, you're going to feel so upset because it's so nice to come home and have your slow cooker be going and your house smells great. Or maybe for me, I have to teach a lot of lessons and I put it all on in the morning and then it just goes. Okay, so now that that's in there and I've got all that done. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my chicken and I'm going to put it in. And I don't even know if I can actually dump it or not. Probably I'm going to have to put it in piece by piece, which is fine. I can do that. And I'm always worried about how much salt to add for chicken. And a lot of this stuff I sort of just do it to taste. It's nice to have the salt in it. I think I just made a mistake and didn't add my... I did not add my chickpeas. I did this wrong. Okay, so you know what? Then here's a piece of bay leaf because I did that wrong. This is a great cooking show. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn this off, fix this so you don't have to watch me take the chicken back out of there. I'm going to put in my chickpeas. I'm going to put it all in. Then when I come back, I'll probably have my little girl with me. And then we'll start on to the next thing. All right. See you in a bit. So I'm going to make some curried soup, and we're going to put a butternut squash and a cauliflower in the curried soup, and it'll be really good. So this looks like it's going to be really hard to cut, but actually it's not that bad. So what you want to do is you want to get yourself a really sharp knife like this. And I actually have a friend that's a chef, and he took this and he sharpened it on. Who could it be? Come in. Hi. This person needs to have a theme song. This is one of my helpers. All right. Well, hold on. Let me give you your wait. I'll give you your theme song. So this is the Helena polka, but actually I changed the words when she was just little to make it the Maina polka. Oh my gosh, who could that be there? Do you remember what you're supposed to do? When you come in, you have to do what? Oh, yeah. What do you have to do with your hands? Wash them. Oh, yes, that's right. And who could this be? Oh, it's a dog. We've got a dog. And what else do we have? Who is this? Is this my son, Harry? And here's what he wanted. He wanted this one. For his theme. But usually he gets the beer barrel polka. Melt a bunch of chocolate. Do you remember?
Can I?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Yuri, can you chop vegetables for me?
Sure.
Great. Okay, I'm going to start you off with this cauliflower. Maina, you're going to break pieces of chocolate into a bowl. So can you go under there and maybe get the wet ingredient bowl? Yuri, this butternut squash, move your little fingers, is going to be a little bit tricky because you have to peel it. So we're going to slice it here and here. I'll show everybody this. Slice it here and here. Good job, Maina. Maina, that's fine. Okay. So, Yuri, do you remember about, when you use a peeler, you want to peel away from yourself, right? Okay. So, I'll give you this to start with. And where will I put these pieces? We will put them in the steamer in the pressure cooker. Okay, so move over, tiny move. All right, we will catch up with you guys when we get to another place with this. Thank you guys for doing such a good job. Thank you. I'm going to keep an eye on what you're doing, okay, just to make sure. That's good. Peel away from yourself. Nice job. Whoop, 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 whoop. There we go. Nice. Good. So, what is that face? All right, guys, you're so helpful, and we'll come back in a little bit. Okay, so where we are now is we're about to make the mousse part. So, Maina, how many eggs did we use for this mousse? Careful.
We used 9.
Yeah, well, let's count and see how many we have left in here. Let's count. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Does that mean I need to use one more?
Yeah.
Because I think 8's our number. So we were not at 9. We were not at. Okay, so here we go. Ready? Last one. So this is, in this bowl, is where the whites go. And we're making we're going to go very carefully, and then we dump them in here. So now we've got all our yolks in one bowl. And what happens, sweetheart?
I have a cup.
You have a cup. Come rinse your hands.
Butter doesn't help.
Oh, no. Did it have salt a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, you want to rinse? You go ahead and rinse. There you go. Good job. Okay. So now what we have to do is we have to make these things into a mousse. Okay, so Maina has put a pinch of salt. These are all of our, can you see this? This is our egg whites. So what we're going to do is we're gonna use this, and we're going to
Oh, do you know did you use my special eggs?
I did not use your special eggs, but you did decorate some because I was afraid to use your special eggs because you decorated them so beautifully, Maina. So where did your special eggs go? I have your special eggs. Where are they? Yeah, I was afraid to use those special eggs, Charmaine, but I do have them over here somewhere. I think I put them in here, your special eggs. I know. Here they are. Here's your special eggs that you decorated.
Mom.
They're so pretty, Maina. I hate to use them. Can I just show them how you decorated these? So these are eggs from our neighbor, Marina. They're so pretty. And you decorated them all. And so you decorated a Maina and a Yuri egg. And then you decorated, these ones look like chickens, some chicken eggs. And then you decorated some...
They are chicken eggs.
Eggs. They are chicken. Well, yeah, they are. But she drew chickens on the eggs. Chickens on the eggs. And they're so beautiful that I was afraid to use them for this cake. I thought maybe that we would save them for things like scrambled eggs. Is that okay? So we can really taste them? Okay. So we've added a little bit of salt in here, and then we're going to get it to all... Once we add a little bit of salt, or you can add something called tartar sauce. No. Cream of tartar. Not tartar sauce. And then you go faster and faster with this. You sure can, but I think it's going to be too loud for our...
Can I put the vanilla in?
Yeah, you can put the vanilla in the melted chocolate. Okay, so what we've done over here is we've melted some chocolate bars, and this is we're using this as a double boiler. We've got boiling water in here, and then this is our chocolate and butter that we've got melted in here, and this was actually 8 chocolate bars. There you go. We're kind of casual here. At least we're trying.
Bubble.
That's okay. Good work. That's just perfect. Now you have to be careful because this is also slippery, this. So now this is a very thick mixture. We've got to get this mixed together with the eggs that are white and then the ones that are, I can't remember anything because there's too many things going on at once. I'm going to stop here. We're going to get to the next stage and then I'll let you see where we are. And my lovely, wonderful son is decorating our table. And Yuri, can you tell us about those
Mommy,
jugs?
Can I mix these eggs?
You can, sweetie. Yuri, can you tell us about those jugs that we're using to pour? No.
Oh, this one is what's he called? Webby. No, is it?
I think we did call it Webby because of the White House on the hill ducks.
Dominic, because it's Italian.
It's Italian. His name is Dominic. Yep, that's right. And it was named. We know Dominic because what Italian Christmas song did you learn?
Dominic the donkey.
Dominic the donkey. So we have a rooster. We have Dominic the rooster. So we have an Italian, and we also have other rooster things. So we did Rooster Day. When did we do Rooster Day, guys?
I made the little thing up.
You made up Rooster Day. That's right. Just the same way that I'm making up the accordion birthday party cooking show.
I've done it.
Perfect job, man. That's great. Now we have to use the machine on this, though, because these have to kind of froth up and get white, remember? Yes, but I'm going to turn this off. Just hold on a second, Yuri. There is. You're right. He is a good boy. Let's see what he's doing. Do you see him? Can you guys move out of the way so we can see where the line is and see where the dog is? Charmaine, can you come off of there, baby girl? Wasail, get out.
He just went out.
Yeah, he did. He messed up. Good boy. That's right. You stay back there. Good boy. All right, guys. It's time to assemble the chocolate mousse cake. So what do we have? We have the eggs and the melted chocolate are now combined. And we have frothed up these things here. And they are staying in soft peaks, which means that when you pick them up, you get like a little point, but it folds over.
Can I try?
You can. Would you like? It might be actually. We might be up to stiff peaks, but yeah. So why don't we get you a knife so you can see it? Or here's a spoon because you already set the table with knives. Now you go ahead and try. Oh, we're a little stiffer than we should be. That's okay. Mommy went a little quick. Okay, so now to get these two things, because this one's really heavy and this one's really light. So what we do first? Whoa.
Easy, not heavy.
No, we're going to take a little bit of this.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
We're taking a little bit and we're lightening this up. And then we'll blend this. We'll come back in a few minutes because we have our bubble family here. Yay. Okay, so in Scotland, if you're single and you can have a bubble, you can have a support bubble. So in my support bubble, I'm lucky enough to have Silas and Caleb, who are my bubble children. And I have Claire, who's wearing one of my most favorite shirts. And Claire's also my piano duet partner, and then her husband, Ruben. So this has been a much easier lockdown for us because of that. So they're here in time for dinner, but of course dinner isn't finished because I'm the one. Oh, very good, Maina. Can I show them what you're doing? Oh, you're doing so well. They'd love to see. What a good job. You're turning the heavy stuff. Are you sure? Can I show them?
Yeah.
Okay, because we want them to learn. Look at this. Great work. So that's it. You're going to grab that heavy stuff off the bottom and flip it over. Nice work, Maina. Nice job. Okay. I'm gonna do a little Here, we don't want to stir too much because we don't want to make the other stuff fall. All we have to do is combine this together, and then it goes into the pan that you have. What have you done to the pan to make it ready?
Oil.
What did you did? Well, you used butter, didn't you? And because you have some food allergies, and Mommy does too, so what kind of butter did we use, honey?
Goat.
We used goat butter because we have a little bit issue with cow's butter, right?
Yeah.
So here we are. We're going to put this in, and it's looking really good. And it gets a little bit sort of streaky, but you don't want to mix it really a lot. Streaky is like where you can see sort of the dark and the light, right? Okay. So we're going to put this in here. What a great job you did preparing this pan. I can see that you put butter even on the little edge. And this is a pan that will separate. So we'll stick it all in there, and then what happens to it? Do you remember?
No.
It gets baked in a water bath.
What?
Yeah, I know, that's crazy. So what you do is you boil some water and you put it...
Can I do the spatula?
Well, you know, sweetie, because we're a little bit low on time, I'm just going to do it, but I know that you can do it, can't you? You know what, actually, you go ahead. You go ahead and get the rest out. How are you doing? Yeah. You're staying out of the camera.
Don't spoil the picture.
No. Because your shirt would be center stage. Thank you so much for wearing that nice shirt. It's so pretty. Now you don't want to put it on the edge, because anything that goes on the edge, don't lick your finger, because what does it have in it? It has raw egg, and we don't always know if that's safe, right? Okay, so we're going to pull this off the edge, and that is beautiful, man. That is going to be
I
such
want to
a
make
good...
it flat.
You want to get... Don't make it flat, sweetie. Just let it go. You know... Oh, actually, I'll show you how to make it flat. You have to jiggle it. You ready for jiggling? Oh, not like you're... Go like this with it. There you go. Good work. That is making it flat. What a good job. My goodness.
I want to put something on top.
How about if we, you know, remember I got you these strawberries to put on top?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it has to be cooked, though. Okay, so that's a lot of jiggling. So that's it. Here, why don't you wipe that chocolate off? Nice job. Thank you so much. Are we ready to put it in the oven? Now, normally we would have put foil in here, and we
We
put...
have to get lots and lots and lots and lots of
Lots of what?
candles
What do we need lots of candles for?
for your birthday.
Oh yeah.
You have to have 50.
So many. I think I wasn't quite ready for 50. 50 candles. Yeah, I don't think we need 50 candles, because it would basically, everything would be on fire. The whole table, like everything. Okay, we're going to talk about the soup. So the soup is a curried soup, and I've just put... It has, I've steamed in this pressure cooker. I've steamed the cauliflower and the butternut squash, and I've got powder, and I've got some chicken bouillon and coconut milk in there. And now I'm about to use my blender, and this is a really, if you blend hot soups, you want to make sure you use metal, because if you use plastic, then that will get in your soup. Obviously, I think you can use silicone, but anyway, so I'll blend that up, and then I'll keep spicing it, and it should be pretty good. And the chicken is in the oven, and in place of couscous, I cooked quinoa, and I cooked it with garlic and chicken broth and basil and olive oil. Garlic, I think I said that. So that's it, and we've got our cake in the oven. We should be all set. All right. Okay, so the trick is, if you're going to use anything with a blender, like this, what you have to do is you have to rinse it right away. If you have like a spiralizer or anything else, the trick is to rinse it right away, because then you don't ever have to try it, because these can be sharp. You don't want to be trying to get them off when it's already dry, and you don't want to have to soak it. So just like rinse it off right away as soon as you're done. So now this has made a really pretty color soup, if you can see that. Smells so good, and it's got all that fat in it that's good for you, that coconut oil, and that's what our bodies need. Our bodies need that for just so many things, like just, it's good for you in so many ways. And so what this can mean then is, if, like, let's say you have a day that you're too busy and you can't find time to eat, you can make a soup like this with vegetables, and you can blend coconut milk, and you can, or just coconut oil or something, and then you have a thing that you can eat. That you can just put in a thermos or something. And there was a nutritionist in town that taught me this trick. Gosh, I wish I could remember. If I can remember, I'll write it down on the bottom. But she was amazing. And then what you do is you put it in a thermos, and then let's say you've got all these things you can't remember to stop and eat. Then you can just have a sip out of your thermos, and it'll keep you going, and it'll keep you going with stuff that's really good for you. So this is such a comforting soup, and if it's wintertime, any of those warming herbs are really going to help. Like anything like cayenne pepper, ginger, cinnamon, all those ones, all of them that make an Indian sort of spice, they're going to be great, and you're going to be warm and happy all winter. So let's have a taste, actually. All right. So it doesn't have enough salt for me, so I'm going to add some salt. If I had kosher salt, I would add that because it's hollow, and that means that it blends faster, but you can't get kosher salt here. You just can't get it. I don't even think you can get it on the internet. So what you have to do is you have to grind your salt and then just blend it in. So when I get this all spiced up, I'm going to also add some more cumin, and I forgot to tell you that I added 1 potato to it. So anyway, all right. Okay, I'm going to show you what we have finished doing. So we finished the soup, and I have finished the chicken, and I actually had to take the chicken out of the slow cooker because I didn't measure my time correctly, and so then I had to cook it in the oven. So here's the chicken, and it's all finished, and it's been cooked with chickpeas and that the other things that I can't remember right now because my head won't do 2 things at once. And here's the cake, and this is that chocolate mousse cake. And I've just taken it out of the pan, and it's got that melted goat's butter and chocolate, and I used to use a really expensive chocolate. But now, because I make this cake enough times and people really like it, that now I use like the cheapest, I get like that 30 pence chocolate that you can get at Tesco's that's really good because you need like 8 bars of chocolate. So Maina melted it all down, melted it over a double boiler, we added the butter. And this is basically coming off of Nigella Lawson recipe from her book, How to Be a Domestic Goddess, which I loved that book. And even better than that, I have a friend named John Salkov, and when I said to him, he saw the book on my counter and very nicely said, "I didn't realize that you wrote a book." I was like, because I'm a domestic goddess. So anyway, what we're missing today with all of the domestic goddess thing is we're missing the apron. Here comes some babies. That's okay. We're missing the apron. We do have the chocolate mousse cake. We've got all the other stuff for being a domestic goddess. And I should at least show you the apron that my mom made. Do I even have it? I think actually I might be washing it. I've really planned well for this. Anyway, for Christmas a couple years ago, my mom made me an apron, and she made me a headscarf to go with it, and she said, well, it's for cleaning, but actually on my dad's side of the family, they were all Mennonites, which is like Amish for hundreds of years. So there's a way that wearing a headscarf, even if you weren't brought up in that tradition, if you put a headscarf on, for me, I just feel really happy, and when I have an apron and a headscarf, and I'm baking, which doesn't make me sound like a great feminist, but it does make sure that nobody ever starves. And I'm generally happy, and I discovered over lockdown that cooking is one of my most favorite things. So I hope that when all this is done, we can have lots of people over and I can cook for you guys, and that would be great. So I'm going to come back in a bit. So Maina, what are you doing here? What are you making?
I don't know.
You don't know? What are all those strawberries? What kind of cake is that?
Don't know.
Oh, is it Mommy's birthday cake?
No.
Yeah. It looks like Stonehenge. It's so beautiful, honey. You cut all those strawberries, didn't you? I can see that you're putting them right into the cake. And then what happens after that?
Okay.
Can you tell me? Does it get candles?
Yeah.
Oh, really? How many candles does it get?
Don't know.
You don't know, huh? But we think we decided for...
Count them.
You didn't count them? Okay. Do you not want to do this anymore with Mommy filming it? No? Okay, sorry. Thank you for doing this nice cake. After 50 years of being here, there have been times when I have loved perfectly, and there are ways that I am still learning how to do that. And the only reason that I can love at all is because I've been shown that, and I've been loved so well by so many of you. I'm going to try to get through this without any crying because I don't want to embarrass any of my friends who are from the UK who aren't out there with everything. But I want to thank my mom and my dad. My dad's not with us anymore, but I feel his presence quite a lot. And I have a picture of him in my kitchen because he used to love to watch me cook. And, you know, my dad had a lot of stuff figured out. And it took lockdown for me to realize that cooking, besides playing music, potentially my favorite thing, to cook for people. Because we can go through life with all kinds of ways that we're tough, but everybody needs to sleep and everybody needs to eat. And so because people have that vulnerability, then that means that that's a way that you can take care of people that I have found is very fulfilling for me, cooking for people. And especially people who have special dietary needs and stuff like that, because if somebody sees that I'm willing to go the extra distance for them, if I'm willing to make lots of adjustments, or instead of saying like, oh, whatever, or it doesn't matter, I want for people to see that I'm doing lots of things for them because I love them. And I have to say that the thing that means the most to me now that I treasure is being able to love people and having that be understood and received. And food is a great way to love people and to be connected, even during lockdown when you can't get to them. And music is another way. And if I was going to say what I'm looking forward to, and I know I've spent a bunch of time reading this story about my butt, but actually that's not the thing that I'm most excited about, which is great because as I get older and my face changes and I can't rely on being incredibly beautiful, not like I was, but reasonably, my face is changing, and I think what I am most excited about isn't my face or my butt or my body, but it's my hands and my ears. And that's because when I was just 8, I wanted to play music, and I remember watching this street musician in Germany and saying to myself, I'll do anything to make people feel like, I'll do anything to make people feel the way this musician makes me feel. And so I have done just about everything, and I've practiced and practiced and practiced, and now, I guess that must have been when I was 8. So here I am at 50, almost 50, I'll be 50 tomorrow. I'm finally getting good at music. And it feels amazing. It feels amazing to play pieces that are harder and to push myself. And it feels amazing to play pieces that are now sort of too easy. And to actually take time to, like when I was younger, I used to just try to zip through pieces as fast as I could go, just because I wanted to get on to the next thing that was harder. But now there's time to go back and just say, what did I miss? You know, like when I'm playing Bach, like why, for example, like if you know anything about the lives of composers, why when Brahms, here's Brahms's stuff, I love him, why when his mother died, did they find him sitting in front of his piano playing Bach with tears running down his face? I mean, and not anybody else. You know, why is he a romantic composer and he's looking back to Bach? Like, what is it about him, about Bach and about Brahms, what was the connection? Why is that? And then to just want to understand so much about their lives, because I think when you spend a lot of time in a practice room with composers, you start to feel like you're carrying part of their heart. So I think that's true for these different composers, like Brahms, you know, poor guy. I mean, he was in love with someone else's wife his whole life. Like he just, the kind of longing that you get and that sense of regret of just, if only I could have this or whatever. So sometimes I think when we get older, we start having some of those feelings and playing these composers that had this strong sense of longing, like Chopin, who always wanted to be back in Poland and couldn't because Poland was occupied, and Brahms, who wanted somebody else's wife. And then there's Rachmaninoff. And Rachmaninoff, you know, he missed Russia really badly, and he made his home in America, but you can hear this, just this stuff in his music, and even like Beethoven. You know, my mom told me that when she went to visit Beethoven's grave, that there's never a composer that goes to see Beethoven's grave and doesn't cry. And I think the number of times that I've played Beethoven and I have felt, you know, how much stuff he went through, how he was deaf, you know, he became deaf, and then he thought, I don't want to live anymore, and I don't want to, why should I live anymore when my best thing is taken away from me? I can't hear anymore, and all this, and then inside of him was the seed for the Ode to Joy, and so he made it through. But there's a way when I'm playing Beethoven and I get into that hard stuff that I just feel like, well, gosh, you know, somebody knows what that feels like. If I'm feeling like, even if I wasn't feeling sad, maybe there was leftover sadness inside, and I can play that. And then I just feel grateful that Beethoven had gone through that. And then I feel like, oh, why am I grateful for Beethoven to be hurting? But I think that there are a lot of composers or a lot of musicians that feel that way, because if it wouldn't have been for the pain, for Beethoven's pain, we wouldn't have the kind of music we have. And there's just this ocean of music to play. And I just hope that I live for a long time. Like right now, you know, I have the luck of having big hands, and they're strong, and I can hear, and I'm hearing better and better all the time. I can hear things in music that I couldn't hear before, because now it matters. All these little tiny bits matter to me. And to be able to study music, I'm not studying piano. I mean, I'm studying piano with myself, but I've been taking accordion online now for a year and a half, because it was my last instrument that I took up. And I've been studying with a teacher named Bratislav, who I've never met. He's online, and he's a teacher, and he's from Serbia, and he immigrated to America. So just studying with him and having him help me hear these things and showing me how to teach online, and just the way that I can be connected to other musicians, and then to start. Now I'm starting to understand Scottish traditional music, and some of those ornaments are finally understand like how to do them, and I can see this amazing future of being able to play music with people, maybe even people who are little kids right now. Like someday I'm going to be able to sit in a pub and play music with people that I'm teaching how to read, like Ta and Titi and stuff, like, you know, people that I'm teaching, like, that I have to teach every little bit to. Eventually what's going to happen with them is they're going to go study with some traditional players, and then they're going to be equal. And we're all going to be equal. And some of them are going to be, I mean, there's so many composers, traditional musicians in this town that are better, like, I can't play traditional almost at all. So just to be around them, and then to know that some of my students right now are going to be actual Scottish players, are going to be better than me, and we're all going to be together, and it's just going to be great, and I can hardly wait for that. So I love living here. I miss my family, but it wasn't until I came to Scotland that I started to understand what a close-knit community can be like. Now I am going to cry, I better not, but like the kindness of people here in this country, I'm very lucky to live here. So now, and I'm not a pretty crier, so as much as I've been saying that looks don't matter and what matters is being able to play music, yes, and I would also like to look incredibly beautiful on my 50th birthday. So before I completely lose it, I'm going to stop and I'm going to say thank you to my mom, because my mother was my first music teacher, and I'm carrying on what she's doing. And she saw when I wanted to study music, and she got me lessons, and she supported me, and she encouraged me. And still, my mother and I can have these conversations where sometimes I'm her daughter, and then other times we're colleagues, and other times we're teaching colleagues, and then other times we're talking about arranging together. And I just feel so lucky to have someone in my life that supports me like that. You know, my mom, she has this book of stuff that everything I've written she thinks is great, and she has collected all of it, and she has it in this book. And some of it, because I write, romance now, it's not the kind of thing that you want to put on a coffee table. And I have to say, Mom, maybe not this one. But my mom, she never fails to be proud of what I'm writing. And I am so grateful to her for always encouraging me. And I remember when she told me this story about when she was really small. And she said she was in school, and they asked the kids, what do you want to be? And all of them wanted to be like the women anyway, because this would have been like the 1940s. They said, "Oh, I want to be a teacher, or I want to be a nurse or something." The girls did, and my mom said, "I want to be a mommy." And everyone laughed at her, and they were like, "Well, that's not a real thing. That's not a thing, But that's what she wanted, and so I know that the day that I was born, because I'm her first child, was huge for her. And she has said to me many times, all of you kids, if only I could have known who you were when I was carrying you, if only I could have known the person that I would love, that and she said it just would have made all the mystery of the pregnancy, everything would have just been easier. I would have thought, oh, I'm carrying my best friend, or if only I could have known everything, because I think she's quite proud of all of us, because that's who she is. So I think for me it was like that too. I think I wanted children so, so much. And the day that I got to hold my son and then my daughter, those were the best days of my life. So I feel really happy to have lived 50 years. I have to say to all the people who think that when you're nervous about something, it can make it happen. I'm maybe, or have been, one of the most nervous people you'll ever meet. And so far, the things that I have been nervous about haven't happened. Okay, I've not been abducted by aliens. I've not had to hide anybody from Nazis. Like, the things that I've been terrified about. I've never fallen into a sinkhole. I've not been buried alive. I mean, no. So I think if you're one of those people that's worried, that if you're worried about something that's going to make it happen, no. I think sometimes bad things happen, and sometimes good things happen, and we just do the best we can. But I don't think that we have that kind of power. I think some of us are really privileged, certainly having my mom as a music teacher and getting to come to Scotland, and oh man, like getting to have kids, just, I'm so, so grateful. But I don't think that we have the kind of power to make bad things happen just because we're worried about them. So if you're worried about that, don't worry about it. Just enjoy your life. Try to do the best thing you can. what I think I love best about being alive is I love what it feels like when my heart is shut and starting to shut down, and then something happens where my heart starts to open again, and it feels like if you've ever seen like a cardboard box open, but it doesn't just open like the top, but then the top opens and then the sides fall down, and then it turns out that inside of it are more and more and more and more and more, so that just your heart just goes and it just opens out. And I think that happens to me every time that I feel shut down. Eventually, sometimes it's a new person that comes into my life, or sometimes it's music, or sometimes it's my kids, or whatever it is. But it almost feels like I am in some sort of a dance where it's shut down, open up, shut down, open up. And the opening up after the shutting down doesn't feel great because we get tired, but boy, that opening up is like amazing. And so many of you have been the reason for my heart to open up again. And sometimes when it's opened up, it's actually changed things permanently. I think coming to Scotland and seeing how people treated each other here, because everything's kind of spread out in the States and people aren't as close, and there's not this, they haven't known each other for generations and generations, at least not where we lived in the suburbs of DC. But after being around Scottish people, I was able to go back to my mother's place where she lived, and she had moved to a new place. And in 2 or 3 days, I pretty much knew everybody. And I learned that from Scottish people and the way that people here take care of each other. And that's a permanent change, and I'm very happy about that. So anyway, thank you so much for being here for my birthday. Love to everybody. Lots of hugs when we're done with lockdown. And I'm going to start posting some concerts. I also should say that I can hear people going past this window. And so we're getting into a time now where I'm going to be able to start leaving some windows open, and there's nobody living really close. So that means that I can start playing music for you guys. And I don't need you to stop by or anything, but just knowing that you're walking by here in Ullapool and you're hearing this music and you're seeing beautiful leaves on the trees and you're seeing the daffodils that are starting to bloom. I just feel like maybe some of that beauty of these composers is going to get in to you along with the music. And it's going to give you a good day, and you're going to carry that with you. And then when you get to your house, you're going to see something else beautiful, and it's just going to resonate and open your heart up. Maybe it's your kid or your wife or your husband or whatever it is that's blooming in your life, like the daffodils. So anyway, that's that. And happy birthday to me. I am 50. We have officially crossed over. We're past midnight. It's my birthday. Happy birthday to me.